Let me tell you what's bothering me as I got up this morning. This administration has just decided to fire more than 2,000 senior staff at NASA. Yes, they're going to fire 2,000 senior staff at NASA. Why would they do that? This is the weirdest, worst time possible to be doing that, if you ask me. Too many things that we see that we can't understand, that we don't know what they are. Even this government has said that they didn't know what they were. Guys, this is the same government that just a few months ago admitted that there were at least 4 different types of non-human species roaming around in the midst of humanity. The government admitted that. This is the same government whose astronomers told us just a few days ago that there's a very strange, very large object that is heading toward Earth, and that'll be here in a couple of months. I'm going to make a video about that later on today. With all of the unusual, with all of the weird, with all the unknown stuff that is approaching us, that has to do with space, that has to do with the unknowns. Why would you get rid of 2,000 officers at the National Aeronautics and Space Administration? That doesn't make sense. I think something's up. This is weird. I'm gonna make a video about it later. That's what's bothering me today. That's what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I'll get you.
2,100 employees at NASA are being fired by the Trump administration. I don't think everybody is really taking this thing serious when it comes to this, because y'all so focused on everything that's going on with the world, it doesn't matter. But NASA is very important, okay? That is our national security. We need them to explore the space. Do y'all not know that they help us with predicting like natural disasters? What if a natural disaster happens? And I'm not saying that we should live in fear. Definitely not doing that. But who is going to let us know if there's like, you know, some type of like hurricane or wildfire or just, you know, monitoring the weather in general? Who's going to tell us that now? Who? If they're firing all these important people that we need. Why y'all vote for him?
So here we go again. Now, Trump has decided to gut NASA. 2,100 people. It's crazy.
Welcome to Echo Room Vibes, where the headlines hit harder than a meteor shower in retrograde. If you are new here, thank you for watching, and shout out to the stage voices that helped this episode come alive. Credit to the original creators diving into this story and stirring the pot with truth, skepticism, and a whole lot of vibe. Now let's get the headline straight. 2,100 senior staff at NASA are reportedly getting the boot. Yeah, 2,100. Not interns, not temps, senior staff. So guys, let's dive into the rest of the video and we'll be back for more commentary.
We have some serious news this evening. America's space program is completely being disrupted. More than 2,100 employees, including several senior employees at NASA, are being fired by the Trump administration, while Sean Duffy, the Secretary of Transportation, has been named interim director of NASA. It's a lot of chaos right now. According to The Guardian, 1,800 of the staff currently serving in core mission areas will be fired, including science or human spaceflight, while others working in mission support roles, including information technology, will be fired. The White House had proposed 47% in cuts to NASA science activities in its 2026 budget proposal, essentially setting back the United States space program significantly. And here we are now, where NASA is going to be gutted substantially in the next several days and weeks as the Trump administration fires thousands of employees. And right now, the leader of NASA, well, he's also in charge of the transportation department. So spread the word. Full breakdown on my Substack, link in bio. Follow along for more.
NASA could be gutted in the next few days. This is coming from a new report from Politico, which obtained documents that showcase that the Trump administration is getting ready to fire over 2,000 NASA employees. And while that number seems shocking, the real thing you should be looking at is who is being fired. Because according to that report, it's a lot of senior employees, people that have decades and decades of information in which they've helped develop a lot of the NASA programs we know now. And yet, they could be fired within the next few weeks. If you remember our report from last week, several former heads of NASA signed a joint letter to Congress stating and pretty much condemning the White House's proposal at that time to cut 47% into the NASA science activities in its 2026 budget. That letter stated that the economics of these proposed cuts ignore a fundamental truth. Investments in NASA science have been and are a powerful driver of the U.S. economy and technological leadership. And speaking about leadership, Donald Trump, just a few hours ago, announced who would be at least heading this in the meanwhile. Sean Duffy. Yes, he is the transportation secretary, and so in an announcement, Trump says, "I'm pleased to announce that I'm directing our great Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, to be interim administrator of NASA." So let me know what you think about all of this in the comment section below. Please do share my videos and follow me for more.
So the Trump administration plans to cut more than 2,100 senior-ranking NASA employees with specialized skills or management responsibilities, including those that are working on core mission areas like science or human spaceflight. "You're losing the managerial and core technical expertise of the agency," said Casey Dreyer, the chief of space policy at the Planetary Society. They said, "What's the strategy and what do we hope to achieve here?" Take a guess. The billionaires who bought this election want to capitalize and monetize space travel. Literally the end game is to privatize it all. So they can just lay claim to the things that will never be and never should belong to one person. It's literally abhorrent and diabolical, but here we are. This is an all-out assault on the American space program. And I know in times like this, you might be thinking, Natalie, why focus on this when there's everything else that's on fire and feels so much more immediate? I'll tell you why, because all of this is connected. Isolation from space travel and exploration, isolation through the imminent sale of TikTok to an American-backed company to further control the flow of information, isolation by deportation of immigrants, isolation by preventing people from crossing state lines in order to receive abortion care. Isolation breeds contempt for the other. It creates suspicion. It makes us more likely to turn on our neighbors and our families. It creates a situation where more power can be consolidated. It demands obedience and silence. To dream of traveling through outer space is literally to believe in something bigger than yourself. It literally demands that we ask, what is possible? And honestly, that question is ringing hollow as Trump torpedoes the American dream, disrespects the dreamers, and denies us the ability to work together. Isolation is the key to unlocking the next level of the Trump regime's desire to create a fascist state where we live in fear of each other and those who oppress us. But the American spirit is nothing if not obstinate and rebellious in its nature. This country can do great things if we learn to work together towards societal goals that benefit all of us. But only when we look at one another in the eye and we say, as Americans, we are in this together to fight for our right to live fully and freely, pursue our happiness, and dream of a better tomorrow for those we may never meet, then we can start to recognize and see ourselves in one another. And in that reflection, we will know that our power lies in solidarity with one another and not in isolation from each other.
So welcome back, guys. So now, unless this is some mass retirement ceremony with cake and balloons and a rocket-shaped watch, this is a massive red flag. You don't just casually lay off 2,000 rocket scientists like it's Black Friday sale on clearance engineers. NASA, folks, the agency that gives us the weather, the satellite eyes, the asteroid alert, and is that a UFO or just my ex's latitude vibes? It's not just about space. It's about surveillance, science, and national security. You don't mess with NASA unless you are ready for consequences that look a lot like getting sucker punched by nature. Imagine a world where a hurricane's coming, but our space sensors were disabled because Chad in middle management thought cosmic stuff was too, in quote, woke. Now, who is behind this and why now? Let's talk about timing, because timing tells the story. The Trump administration is reportedly behind this move. Strategic cuts, they say, budget discipline, America first. And here's the paradox. How are you saving America by firing the very people who look out for it from space? Because let's not forget, this is the same country that just publicly admitted the existence of non-human species and UAPs, meaning unidentified aerial phenomena. The government told us straight up that it doesn't know what the hell some of these things flying around are. And just a few weeks ago, astronomers spotted a very large, unidentified object headed in our direction. Sounds like a great time to clean house at NASA, right? Let's just hand the keys to the galaxy to Elon and hope for the best. America has this toxic relationship with knowledge. Real expertise gets treated like a luxury. Too expensive, too slow, too elitist. And suddenly everyone with a YouTube channel and a cowboy hat becomes a space expert. Meanwhile, the people who have spent decades building global satellite systems, who understand orbital velocity and interplanetary radiation, fired. In what world do we say, oh, cool aliens might be real, meteors are coming, AI is misbehaving, and oh, let's cut the nerds loose? This isn't cost-cutting. This feels ideological. This feels deliberate. You don't deconstruct your space agency during a global technological arms race unless someone benefits from ignorance. Now, let's look at the bigger picture. Now, this is a part of a broader pattern. The strategic kneecapping of institutions that hold truth, science, and accountability. Public health, undermined. Public education, underfunded. Environmental science, gutted. And now, space. Because, let's be real, NASA doesn't just track storms, it tracks power. The power to warn, to predict, to explain. And that's dangerous for regimes and billionaires who will rather you fear your neighbor than know a comment's coming. If people start looking up, they might stop looking down on each other. They don't want you educated. They want you confused, anxious, and dependent on headlines crafted like reality TV. Now, guys, who gets hurt? Now, let's get specific. These 2,100 people, many are likely engineers, scientists, technicians, software specialists, space medics. These are not nameless bureaucrats. These are people who manage launch sequences, simulate atmospheric conditions, detect anomalies on Earth and in orbit. And what happens when they are gone? Delays, errors, gaps in data, and broken systems. A meteor doesn't care about your politics, neither does radiation or solar flares or failing satellite during wildfire season. If a superstorm's forming and no one's watching because some senator wanted to stick it to the deep state, we all pay. Now look, I'm not saying the aliens are coming. I'm just saying the government sure hasn't ruled it out. And when the same officials who told us there are things in the sky we don't understand turn around and say, let's get rid of the people who might explain it, I raise my eyebrows and clutch my tinfoil hat. Because either, one, something's out there and they don't want us to know about it. Two, nothing is out there, but they want us scared anyway. Or three, Something internal is coming, and they need fewer whistleblowers in high places. So what now? Well, for one, don't let this story fade into the algorithm abyss. Share the videos, credit the creators, keep amplifying the voices calling out the nonsense. And second, remember that science is not partisan. Weather doesn't vote, and also asteroid don't care about your tax bracket. This information kills, but so does not knowing when a flood's coming. Support science, support public institutions, and stay loud. Because once you silence the people watching the stars, you are just fumbling in the dark. Thanks again to the creators who stitched this story together. Real ones exposing the madness, one clip at a time. And thank you to everyone who shares, likes, and keeps Echo Room vibes alive. We don't just report the noise, we remix it. Until next time, stay safe, stay smart, and keep watching the skies. From Echo Room Vibes, peace out.